Frontline Briefing, Uncovering Modern Warfare's Hidden Battles. August 2025. The Caspian Sea. 500 kilometers inside Russian territory sits Port Olya on the Caspian shore. This isn't the front line. This isn't contested territory. This is deep inside Russia. On August 14th, a vessel designated Port Olya 4 completes its journey from Iran. Displacement, 13,200 tons. Inside those containers, 350 Shahed kamikaze drones, aviation fuel, electronic components, high-grade explosives. This single shipment represents 2 weeks of sustained attacks on Ukrainian cities. Stay through to see how two $2,000 decoy drones died so one could destroy $22 million, and why Russia's safe rear just became a combat zone. This cargo originated in Iran's Bandar Abbas port. It crossed the Caspian Sea, arriving at what Russian planners considered a secure logistics hub. The port isn't undefended. Buck M3 surface-to-air missiles. Pantsir S-1 short-range defense is worth $15 million per unit. Nebo M long-range surveillance radar. Detection range, 600 kilometers. 2 layers of air defense. Continuous radar coverage. Russian commanders believe this makes the port untouchable. They're wrong. What they don't know, Ukrainian intelligence tracked this vessel from the moment it departed Iranian waters. They monitored its crossing. They know exactly what's in those containers. More importantly, they've identified the weakness in Russia's air defense. Sophisticated radar systems rely on computers to identify threats, and computers can be fooled. Ukrainian operators prepare 3 drones for launch, 2 UJ-22 airborne decoys, modified commercial quadcopters with enhanced transmitters. Cost, $2,000 each. Their mission isn't to destroy anything. Their mission is to die. The third aircraft, Lyut-196 long-range attack drone, carries a 165-pound shaped charge warhead. Cost approximately $50,000. The 2 decoys fly ahead at 1,000 feet, high, visible, deliberately attracting radar attention. The strike drone follows at 150 feet, skimming just above the Caspian Sea. Total investment, $54,000. Target value, $22 million plus the vessel. This is decoy-lead-strike doctrine. 2 drones sacrifice themselves so one can reach the target. 3:15 a.m., Port Olya 4 begins unloading. Cargo handlers are opening containers. Forklifts are positioning Shahed crates for transport. Russian air defense crews are monitoring. Nothing unusual for weeks. 500 kilometers away, 3 drones lift into the darkness. In 90 minutes, Port Olya 4 will be underwater. The drones begin their journey, 2 flying high, 1 flying low. Russian radar operators are watching their sectors. Screens show routine air traffic. They don't see what's coming. Decoys only work if the enemy believes they're real. And for that to happen, they have to die convincingly. The 3 drones are approaching Port Olya, 2 decoys at the front corners, strike drone trailing behind. Decoys, 1,000 feet. Strike drone, 150 feet. The decoys' radio transmitters are broadcasting at maximum power. Their radar cross-section is deliberately enhanced. The Lyut-196 flies low enough that radar returns blend with water surface reflections. This is radar shadow exploitation. Low-altitude flight over water creates interference patterns. The aircraft becomes nearly invisible. Inside Russia's radar station, operators are tracking routine contacts. Then 2 new contacts appear. Altitude, 900 to 1,000 feet. Speed, consistent with drone profiles. The duty officer triggers a level 2 air defense alert. Red indicators flash across every air defense station within 100 kilometers. At the port's perimeter, a Pantsir S-1 battery surges to combat readiness. Its radar acquires both contacts. Targeting solution calculated. 3:40 a.m., 257 E-6 missiles launch 14 seconds apart. Supersonic speed toward the contacts. The decoy drones have no countermeasures, no armor, no evasion. First impact, the lead decoy disintegrates. Second impact, the trailing decoy explodes, scattering fragments into the Volga River. Inside the Pantsir command cabin, the crew celebrates. Targets down, sector clear. They just killed the bait. While Russian crews engaged the decoys, the strike drone executed a pre-programmed maneuver. The moment Russian radar locked the decoys, it banked 17 degrees off its original heading. This positioned it in a blind credo, a seam where overlapping radar beams fragment. For 8 minutes, the drone flew through a space where neither radar had clean tracking. This isn't stealth. This is understanding where radar beams overlap and where they don't. Distance to Port Olya 4, 15 kilometers, 3:46 a.m. In a Ukrainian bunker, an operator confirms, strike drone and final approach. Target lock confirmed. The vessel's thermal signature is clearly visible. Engines running, deck lights on, cranes active. 4 minutes to impact. A shaped charge doesn't just explode, it focuses energy into a needle that punches through steel like paper. And when that needle hits fuel and explosives, physics takes over. The drone accelerates to 130 miles per hour in its final dive. Target, Port Olya 4's midsection. Fuel compartments and Shahed storage. The warhead is designed for penetration, a copper cone liner that, when detonated, collapses into a superheated jet. The jet moves at 7,000 meters per second. It can punch through reinforced steel, concrete, and composite armor. Impact. A brilliant white flash erupts. The shaped charge jet penetrates the outer hull in microseconds. First bulkhead. Second bulkhead. The jet reaches the fuel bay. Aviation gasoline vapors ignite instantly. The explosion isn't external, it's internal. Blast pressure builds inside the hull with nowhere to escape. The fireball erupts through cargo hatches and ventilation shafts, a 330-foot column of flame. The shockwave generates 40 pounds per square inch of overpressure, enough to tear through steel plating nearly an inch thick. The vessel's hull is failing, plates buckling, welds tearing, compartments flooding. But the initial blast is just the beginning. Each Shahed drone carries an 88-pound warhead. Hundreds are stored throughout the vessel. Heat and shockwave trigger the first Shahed, then the second, then 5 more. This is a cascading chain reaction. Each detonation triggers adjacent munitions. 48 seconds after initial impact, the fire suppression system activates. It's useless. The fire is internal. Suppressors can't reach burning compartments. Explosions continue. Deck plates lifting, cranes collapsing, containers are ejected into water. From shore, the fireball is visible across Astrakhan. 12 kilometers away, windows rattle. Car alarms trigger. 15 secondary explosions occur within 3 minutes. Each one is a separate Shahed container. Burning debris rains across a 2,300-foot radius. Container fragments, drone wings, structural steel. Warehouses 700 meters away catch fire from falling debris. Pier 3's infrastructure is destroyed. Cranes toppled, the loading equipment twisted. The explosions continue for 20 minutes. Not one blast, 20 minutes of sustained detonations. Port Olya 4 is listing 30 degrees to port. Water floods the lower holds. The crew is abandoning ship. Lifeboats launching. The vessel is going down, stern submerging, bow rising. 4:15 a.m., 26 minutes after the strike. Only Port Olya 4's bow remains above water. Flames are still visible. Fireboats spray water. Ambulances treat the evacuated crew. Areas within 2 kilometers are evacuated. Ammunition is still cooking off. From orbit, satellites capture the thermal signature. Smoke rising thousands of feet. 26 minutes from impact to total loss. When Port Olya 4 went under, it didn't just take a cargo vessel. It took Russia's logistics schedule with it. For 3 hours after the explosion, Russia's Ministry of Defense says nothing. Pro-Kremlin channels post vague reports. Warehouse fire, cause under investigation. Midday, minor fire at civilian facility, no military significance. The same day, commercial satellites release high-resolution imagery. The vessel is clearly destroyed. Only the bow is visible above the waterline. Pier 3 is blackened. Steel deformed from heat. Concrete cracked. The debris field extends 700 meters. This wasn't a warehouse fire. Here's what actually sank. Ukraine, 2 decoys, $4,000. 1 strike drone, $50,000. Total, $54,000. Russia, 350 to 400 Shah drones, $21 to $24 million. Vessel, $8 million. Pier damage, $5 million. Port closure, $2 million. Total, $36 to $39 million. 722 to 1. For every dollar Ukraine spent, it destroyed $722 of Russian capability. But the strategic impact extends beyond cost. Before August 14th, the Caspian corridor moved Shahed drones regularly, 2 to 3 shipments per month. After the strike, the route goes silent. No shipments for weeks. Russia's strike planners expected 400 new drones this month. They got 0. Ukrainian air defenses face reduced pressure. Fewer targets mean longer equipment life. Ukrainian power infrastructure sustains fewer attacks. 2 to 3 weeks of Russian strike capacity were limited in one night. The destruction triggered 3 effects. First, Port Olya is locked down for 72 hours. Shipping was diverted hundreds of kilometers. Second, 2 additional Panzer batteries were deployed to Astrakhan within 48 hours. $30 million in assets now protecting one port. Third, Caspian supply corridor suspended indefinitely. Alternative routes go overland through Central Asia. Slower, more expensive, more vulnerable. One strike created a permanent disruption to Russia's southern logistics. Russia built logistics on one assumption: distance equals safety. Ukraine just proved that's worthless. Traditional doctrine says deeper logistics are safer. At 500 kilometers, you're supposed to be secure. Port Olya sits 500 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Traditional doctrine is dead. Ukrainian long-range capabilities evolved rapidly. 2022, 100 to 150 kilometers. 2025, 500 to 600 kilometers. There is no safe rear. Ukraine has hit Moscow, 500 kilometers from the border. Kazan, 1,000 kilometers deep. Now Astrakhan on the Caspian. Nowhere in Russia is beyond reach. The strike validated the decoy-lead-strike doctrine. Traditional attacks send multiple drones simultaneously. Air defenses engage all. Some get through, many don't. Decoy lead is different. Decoys deliberately attract fire, exhaust missiles, and create blind spots. When Panzer engaged 2 decoys, it expended 2 missiles. Reload, 60 seconds. During that window, the Lyuti penetrated unopposed. In modern warfare, sacrifice is a force multiplier. The strike demonstrated radar geometry exploitation. Multiple radar systems create overlaps. These overlaps have seams where tracking degrades. A 17-degree course change positioned the drone in one of these seams. Combined with low-altitude flight, the drone became nearly invisible. Physics beats technology. After Port Olya, Russia faces an impossible problem. They have dozens of critical nodes, ports, rail hubs, storage depots. Each now requires permanent coverage. Hundreds of systems, thousands of personnel. The cost of defending everywhere is unsustainable. Every system protecting a port is one not protecting advancing troops. Defense becomes impossible when you must defend everywhere. Russia thought 500 kilometers was far enough. Ukraine proved distance means nothing when you can't defend the sky. 5 principles from Port Olya. 1. Decoy sacrifice multiplies effectiveness. $4,000 in decoys enabled a $50,000 strike to destroy $39 million. 722 to 1 return. 2. Radar has geometric vulnerabilities. Overlapping coverage creates blind corridors. Course changes exploit these. Geometry defeats technology. 3. Low altitude defeats detection. Flying 150 feet over water blends with the surface. Expensive systems become blind. 4. Chain reactions amplify damage. Targeting fuel and munitions creates cascading explosions. Initial blast is just the start. 5. Distance no longer equals safety. 500 kilometers isn't secure. No location in Russia is beyond strike range. Russia now faces an impossible situation. They must defend dozens of logistics nodes simultaneously. Their options? Concentrate defenses on critical sites. This leaves secondary sites vulnerable. Spread defenses thin. This makes each site easier to penetrate. Abandon vulnerable corridors. This forces longer, more expensive routes. Accept periodic losses. This gradually degrades capability. Every option has strategic costs. There is no good solution. When offense is cheaper than defense, defense eventually fails. Final assessment: Ukraine, $54,000 invested, 3 drones deployed, 2 sacrificed, 1 struck. Mission success. Russia, $39 million lost, 350 to 400 Shaheds destroyed, 2 to 3 weeks eliminated, supply route disrupted, port closed 72 plus hours, $30 million in additional defenses deployed, 722 to 1. But the real victory isn't equipment destroyed, it's the strategic paradigm shift. Russia can no longer assume distance provides security. Every port, rail hub, and storage depot is now a potential target. Russia must defend everywhere. Ukraine can strike anywhere. Distance doesn't equal safety when you can't defend the sky. Port Olaiafor lies half-submerged in the Caspian Sea. Its cargo of 400 Shaheds will never reach Russian air bases. Ukraine demonstrated deep rear capability, not through overwhelming force, through understanding vulnerabilities, decoy sacrifice, radar geometry, low-altitude flight. Combined, these defeat networks are worth hundreds of millions. This is the deep rear doctrine. Nowhere is safe. Distance is irrelevant. Russia must defend everywhere with resources they don't have. Can Russia secure the Caspian corridor? How many secure ports are actually vulnerable? What's the limit of Ukrainian deep strike range? Drop your analysis in the comments. If this breakdown showed you tactics that decide wars, subscribe for more strategic intelligence.